what ho! Welcome back to another exciting adventure of The Plain Truth. I'm your host, Travis Finley on the Ubercast. Just let me get this just a minute. Just getting things set up here. Hit that Fonzie and make a comment and share the show. Pin the message. Okay, so what do I want to do right now? Maybe I'll do that. So what I'm doing right now is just looking up other things that I've done. So one of the things I want to talk about is refraction and I don't know what, man, the science behind it, I guess. So here, I've got to redo this because I've got better pictures by now. But I'm just going to start. I'm just going to start here, I think. These are all screenshots of Andrew Thomas Young's diagramming. Okay. All right, so this is his diagram. I thought it was the actual page. Okay, I was gonna highlight. This is no mirage. Okay, you were looking at the target. Here's the target. I gotta do this. Camera off. Maybe I should just make that smaller. That's what I'll do. I'll just make it smaller. Okay, and then now I'm going to have to do this over here. I have to jump back and forth. Okay. This is Andrew Thomas Young depicting something with no mirage. Okay. Here is what is called a ray tracing diagram, which is just la la land fairy dust sprinkling bullshit. Okay. So he has his target at 1 kilometer. Okay. 1,000 meters, which is under a mile, right? 1,000 meters is 3,300, 3,400 feet. So this is like 3/4 of a mile about, right? So here is a target that's not in reality. No one has ever seen a pyramid with 5 sections designated by white and black, okay? No one's ever seen this. Okay, so that's a problem. We should be shown something that is actually 1 kilometer away and then break it down, because right now you're just creating this synthetic, not real scenario and making labels. Okay, so I'm just going to call you out, until someone steps up and answers these addresses, then smurf off, whatever. Okay, so at 3/4 of a mile, the target is in front of the mirage. Okay? Now, this is the next step in the demonstration of how refraction affects the target. And in order to create this, I just noticed that it says slight towering. Whatever, I can't get distracted. Okay. So now we're at 2 kilometers. So now we're at 1.5 miles. And at 1.5 miles, the horizon is in front of the target. Okay? However, let me go back to the previous. I want you to pay attention to this line right here. If this is going to line up the same way, I don't know. We'll see. Hold on. See if this will stay straight on that smurfing line. All right, right there. Nope, didn't. It moved. Okay, so here is the distant horizon here. Oh my goodness. This is so dumb. It's only dumb for me because it's just annoying me because I can't get this lined up. Right, stop. Right there. Right there, right there. Okay. Here is the horizon behind the target. Okay. Now, that position of the horizon in the distance is going to remain in the distance, designated in the next image by the red line for the mirage. Ready? Here we go. Okay. Now you notice how the entire field of view changed, which is what would change with a mirage. Okay. So this here in front of the target is now the horizon that we can see. However, behind this mirage is farther distance that is now not visible, but it is still there. This red line designates the previous distant horizon that's still there. Okay? So, I have to think through what I want to say right now. This is a very acute mirage. Okay? I don't know why it's called slight towering. I suppose because it doesn't understand that this image here is a reflection. See, this entire field needs a remedy. Did someone join? No, because I didn't send the invitation to anybody. Oh. Yeah, I'm still in here. Because I don't see anybody joining. Can I invite anybody? There we go. There's this. There's this. Why can't it give me a link? Now I'm distracted by this dumb. I don't understand this right now. Why can't I not invite? This is weird. Whatever. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh, there you are. Okay. Let me start that thing over again. I'll come back to this later. Rejoin this. Oh, I think that's why. That's why. Okay, never mind. I gotta drop this out. Stop it. All right, do this. Get that out of here. Do this, do this, do this. All right, so now this. Sorry, Ian, if you're still there, I'm just going to get the meeting going. I don't know why I couldn't find a place to invite people when I saw it earlier. There's the copy there. There's that. Turn that off. Do this. Okay, so I'm going to send you this link in Discord, I think. Or, yeah. Give me a second. I'm going to send this to you in Discord. Do do dee 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 dee. Do do do. Do do dee. Why is Discord not coming up? All right, did that finish? That's not finished. Why is Discord not coming up? Sorry, I'm just distracted right now. All right. Again, the Discord's not coming up. So does that mean I'm going to have to... This is so dumb, man. Remove... So I'm going to have to remove Discord and then... No, wait. Oh, yeah. Whatever. Okay, here. I'm just going to put it in the stupid chat. There you go. That's going to take too long to waste our time. All right, so we should just be waiting for Ian to show up here. All that's there. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Cool.
All right, so I think everything's good. All right, do you have anything you want to start off and share? Or
No, let's you carry on doing what you're doing. I only see the
I haven't shared a
Google
screen.
Meet.
I haven't shared a
Okay,
screen
cool.
yet. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I would rather have us have a conversation than because I was just poking around with. I mean, were you watching what I was doing before? With the Andrew Thomas Young stuff here. I guess I'll share my screen and talk through it. We'll see what happens. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I'm just gonna do a window, and that's gonna be this. All right. So you can see that.
It's starting up. Give it a sec. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So I don't think you're gonna be able to see my mouse or anything while I'm doing this.
That's fine.
I don't know though. Can you see my mouse right now? It's right on the tip of the triangle.
Yes, I can.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I change screen, do you still have the screen? Can you still see
I, s- I still see the Andrew Thomas Young documentation, the introduction, near target, no mirage.
right, but it's the right. Okay. So this one is without mirage. Okay, and the horizon is designated by the line in red, which is behind the diagram target. Okay, and this is
Yep.
1 kilometer away. So now what Andrew Thomas Young has done is he's now moved himself away twice the distance. So now it's 2 kilometers. And then he looks back at his target and says, oh, wow, there's something interesting going on. Now the horizon is in front of the target or at the base. And there seems to be some crazy curvature here at the base, which he calls slight towering. Okay? But what I'm trying to designate here is that behind the refraction here is where you would see the horizon if you could wipe away the refraction on this day. If you could just go swipe and make this with no inferior mirage refraction, then it would look like this.
That's correct. So is Andrew Thomas? So as far as I'm understanding now, Andrew Thomas Young is saying that is the actual obstruction, and it's being refracted above that horizon line.
Well,
Is
that's
that
the
what he's saying?
problem. That's the problem with this discussion to a certain extent is that you can only do as much as what he gives you in his documentation. So your question is a question that's valid, but because his documentation doesn't address any of that, I find that weird. Because that's the kind of stuff that you and I notice. And we're thinking, where's the documentation? Where's the scientific research in this question? I don't see that anywhere on the internet. So that's why I partially am doing this breakdown of this diagram. And interestingly enough, when I did this breakdown with Rod Nave, my PhD from Georgia State University, when I did this presentation for him, he said, what about the curvature of the Earth? Because he understood that I kept putting the horizon farther and farther and farther in the distance that you can't see. And if he was thinking, well, wait a minute, if the land just keeps going farther and farther and farther and farther away, what about the curvature of the Earth? So Andrew Thomas Young doesn't even address your question, as far as I've been able to see. But your question is valid nonetheless.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, carry on.
Okay, so here's the next one where he goes now another kilometer. So each of these increments here's the first one, here's no mirage. Here's the second one with a slight miraging. Now notice what he does here is he calls it miraging, but here he didn't. Here he just said it was towering. Like, he doesn't explain it. He doesn't say why, that's, anyway. So now, why isn't this, look at this, watch. This says slight towering. Why doesn't this say slightly more towering? You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, why did you switch to miraging all of a sudden?
Now, if you go back to the previous image, or you can remain on this one, where we see that horizon line, I believe I will be able to predict the distance to when we would start seeing that occur. So, like I say, we've done the tests, and it has been in the 90s percentage wise accurate. So if we go out and we put a target on the road on the tarmac, and I have an observer height, and I measure the temperature of the road, or the temperature just right above the road, and I measure the temperature about a meter up in the air, I get two refractive indexes. I put that into the mathematical calculation when I would expect to see the index, the critical angle that I will see internal reflection on that medium, and it's been accurate to an extent where the math would say, for instance, 160 kilometers, and I would see it happening at 157 kilometers. We'll adjust the camera height, and you would do the same measurement or the same mathematics at a different camera height. For instance, you go to a meter high, and I say my math tells me I would see the target enter the mirage at this distance, and lo and behold, it's within.
But do you have that? Do you have that documented?
So that's in my maths. That's why I've developed the app, and I'm going to do a video on that. So yeah, it's interesting. That's why I say I believe that I've got some evidence here.
Oh, okay. I mean, I understand conceptually what you're saying, but my question again is that do you have physical observations that you've recorded, or are you just going to be?
Yes.
Okay.
So we didn't record this initially, but I'm going to be doing it with new equipment. So I want to buy better equipment. I was using very basic equipment. Before I go and waste my time recording something where it might not be valid, I want better equipment. So the actual observation is, I would say, holds more merit with better equipment, if that makes sense. Like I said, we just tested it with basic equipment, and like I say, it was very, very accurate, which has been absolutely fascinating, and that's why I believe that I'm on the right track here with this.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, that sounds amazing, and I hope that it's true in terms of being able to make these kinds of predictions, because the thing that I'm trying to make available to people to understand when I've said this is a mirage is a mirage is a mirage is a mirage. Like everywhere you see a mirage, you have to understand that the physics that go not only into making the mirage, but the physics that lie behind the mirage need to be understood as well. So that if you can, like if I can get, let me see if I can do this real quick. First of all, can you see my screen right now?
I can, yes.
Okay, so this is the mirage page, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what you're saying basically is that this orange truck, if there were no breaks in the pavement, the tarmac where we have this elevation here, I think that these lines here are due to elevation. At this point, the road is higher than the previous road, so it's above the refraction. This is like seeing a wave come across the ocean, right? So right here you have nothing, and then if you look right here, all of a sudden, oh, now there's a break. And then right here you have a thin break, and then it gets thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker, and you see it all the way across, right? So what is that? Well, my answer is this darkness right here is the road that is elevated higher at this point so it can break this refraction. That makes sense?
It does, yes. There's two possible explanations for it. What you just mentioned now with it breaking through is the most likely cause, yes. But there is another thing called frustrated internal reflection. And that's when there's the other medium that's so close to it that it's able to pass the light through the barrier, even though it's at the correct critical angle.
Yeah.
That angle, and that's called frustrated internal reflection. So it could be that, but it is most likely the road breaking through. Yes.
Well, yeah, okay. I don't necessarily. I think that frustrated internal reflection makes me think of. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna look up a video if I can find one real quick that might have. This is the problem with thinking about this stuff on the top of my head. Is like, where's that video I can show? Okay, here. Okay, maybe this will be it. Give me a second.
Someone joined and then left, or was that the screen share that left?
It might have been the screen share. I have it set to where there's a chime if someone joins, and I didn't hear a chime. Okay, let me do this. Let me do this. I gotta share the screen again. And window. Share this window. Okay, so you should be able to see this lighthouse.
Yep.
All right, so it looks.
Okay. All right. So, right here where can you see my cursor right at the base of the lighthouse where the dark spot is?
I can, yes.
Okay. That's ground level. Okay?
Correct.
So, if you were to be walking right here next to this cannon, I would be able to see your distorted image because this cannon is visible. Right here is where I would suggest is your frustrated internal reflection. Okay, because this isn't going to be a great picture for it. I'll try to watch because here it's like this is a solid image, solid image, solid image. This is the wonky Twilight Zone solid image down here. So here's this house in the background, right? And we can see these windows, see the doorway, but right here it's where the Twilight Zone happens. This is like really weird stuff. And it's active like a Fata Morgana. So we've got a distant Fata Morgana, so to speak, because it's dynamic. Otherwise, when you have a strong mirage that's stable, there's no see this right here and then it disappears here and then it comes back. Like that to me would be the frustrated, or I would say confused. The internal reflection doesn't know what to do. Should I reflect or reflect? Reflect or reflect? What should I do? But if you haven't seen this footage yet, right here, you see where I'm circling?
Yeah.
That is where my friend Brian is standing, and he's going to flash a mirror. So just keep an eye. I'll back it up a little bit because he did it a second ago. Now I'm on the other side of the Chesapeake Bay, so I'm where I normally take pictures from or to. So I'm shooting back toward the lighthouse. This is where I normally set up over here at the lighthouse to the left. So okay. I'm trying, I've got my camera fully extended, and so I'm trying to get it stable while I talk to Brian. I thought the flash was going to come faster than this. Sorry. It should be coming up pretty soon.
No problem.
Wow, I went back too far. That's crazy. Sorry. Okay, right here, coming up, right here. See it?
I did not know.
Okay. I'm going to try to stop it on the flash.
Yeah, if you can, there we go, sort.
Yeah, but that was a real small one. I'm gonna get to the really big one where it's massive. I'm just going frame by frame right now. So, basically, these were observations that I was making before I really knew anything. I was like doing this, like this would be the beginning science if I were the one doing it 500 years ago. Okay, I stopped it right on the flash there.
I see it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that flash is both in its location as well as being. It's also being reflected and appearing into what we'll call a inferior mirage. Um, I'm a little bit confused of why you say a mirage is not a mirage and it's actually an image. Uh, yeah, I'm a bit confused where that language barrier is, but
Ask
for a
me a
lack of better
question.
words,
Ask me a question instead, because I'm not sure how to answer you. So ask me a question about it.
okay, so we seeing that fold line. I say everything below that fold line is a mirage, and everything above that fold line, depending on the conditions, for a for the to continue the conversation. Let's say everything above it is actual, but below that fold line, I would say is a mirage or what I would now call a reflection.
Yeah, okay, I'm good with that.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Okay.
So that when I talk of mirage, I'm talking about a reflection.
Well, that's okay. I think maybe the question that you're asking stems from a comment that I might have made in a previous exchange, and that was the difference between using the word image and using the word mirage. And so maybe I understood something that wasn't being said, and so I was, correcting something that wasn't necessarily legitimate. But it is legitimate in terms of, I don't want to keep doing this. So what am I going to do? I'm going to show the entire screen. There we go. All right, so now you should be able to see the EDU site again.
Yes.
Okay. So, trying to get down here and get back. So here, he has what he calls a superior image. Okay, but that's not a mirage. Okay, so the only time we see that is right here in these two scenes right here, where there's a boat and there's no water immediately below the boat. That's what this is showing.
That's extremely laughable, actually. If they actually presenting that as what it is, that is ridiculous.
Well, that's what we have to deal with, man. This is why this is at least one area that needs to be corrected by what you and I are doing. Like, this page should no longer exist. It should be just completely deleted from everybody's memory. Because it's not real. This is completely
No.
This is like showing you how Santa Claus flies across the sky. Look, here's a diagram. Thanks. No, I don't ever need to see that again.
Unless there's a physical barrier where that light is leaving off, then it is possible. But the way it's presented, no, it cannot do the way they presenting it. It's not possible. You would be able to zoom into your own arsehole then, in the opposite direction. So no, that's ridiculous. What we're seeing there is there's an inferior mirage below that ship. It's basically like a car on a hot road, going across a crest or driving along the road.
When you say that there is a very acute mirage below the ship, what image are you talking about?
So all of them, both those ships. Just because the ship is not in the reflection doesn't mean the skies.
These two right
Yeah,
here?
both of them. Just because the ship and the sailing boat is not presenting a reflection doesn't mean it's floating in the air. There's a reflection of the sky in there.
Well, I don't even think that's correct. I don't.
Oh.
I don't think that's correct, because this ship is much too large. So what I mean to say by this is if, I guess the only way that I can say this is this: if this space beneath the boat to the water which looks like sky. If that appearance is the sky being reflected, then this ship would have to be reflected prior to it. And because the ship is so big, it would be seen here. You wouldn't even see the sky. So what I mean to say is that if there were an inferior mirage, if there were a mirage event here, then you would definitely see the miraged ship. There's no way you couldn't. It would be too big not to see. So part of my point is to let me do this real quick. Let me show you this, because this might, if I can remember here, I need my PNGs. So I did this here. This ship that I'm going to show you right here is this, right? Okay, you see the ship?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the very same ship. I just copied and saved the image. And now I cut the image out and turned it into a PNG. So I removed everything in the background. And then I changed the color levels. And with the color levels, you can clearly see that the water is going up and beyond the bow. Like this is right here. This is now the horizon. Okay? So whatever this is down here is not a mirage. It's like a polarization event. Because the only time you see a mirage is when there is another image. If you can't see another image, there's no mirage.
I get what you're saying, yes. Okay. Let me see if I can just find why I'm saying
So let me go back here. Here we go. Can you see this boat here?
Yep.
So imagine that I could take this. I should probably do this instead and just show you what it would look like. But, oh man, I've done this so many times. I'm like having these flashbacks of having done this already. Okay, so right here, Ian, you can clearly see that the boat is miraged, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what that means is that everything out here is a mirage too, in this area. Do you hear the fold line is here, the fold line, the fold line, the fold line? That means that this right here is a mirage, okay? This is kind of like the image that we were just looking at with the sky. So now this is sky. But you see that this boat is miraged too. Now, to do what you were saying or suggesting about the ship that we were looking at, because the ship didn't have an inverted mirage, but you allowed for the sky to have the mirage. So here's the sky, and then here's the miraged sky. So there's no way, because this boat is so high, that it becomes the space that is miraged.
I got you. Yeah, there's a reason why I've said what I've said, so don't get me wrong. I may have misspoke in the sense of it's not an inferior mirage. And if I may, I'll share my screen to share something that's very, very way out there, though. Which might shed some light, but like I say, it's going to be very out there.
I'm not afraid of crazy talk, okay. So you should be able to share whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm just checking which screen it is. Not that one. Screen 2. Okay, it's one of your videos. I just want to show you something. Is this possible to? There we go. Cool. Okay, share screen. I don't know why my mic is always open. Is it always open?
I think so. Yeah. I
Okay.
can hear somebody watching the
Something in the
TV.
background.
Yeah, but it's.
Can you put that softer?
I mean, it's not bad. I can just hear it. You know.
Okay. No worries.
It's just like if someone. It's like if someone was talking at a table a couple tables over from you. It's no big deal.
All right. Okay. So this is your video with the. I think that's the boathouse or something. That's that. I think you call this your red roof house.
No, the red roof. The red roof house is the one on the left, in the middle.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And then the pavilion.
But you call this observation your red.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, hear me out. I'm saying that there's another layer of air above the observer. In this case, I think it's actually very close to the water. And the reason why I say that, I'm going to play this video. Let's fast forward. So this section here, this is basically what's happening down here. All right. And the reason why I'm saying this is
wait.
Yeah.
Okay, you just said this is basically what's happening down here, but when so go back and what is this is? I don't know what that part is.
So I'm just pointing the mouse at. I'm going to reverse the image now, and then I'm going to explain what I'm saying. And this is what I think is happening with that ship. So just hear me out now. So I'm reversing the image, and when I said this is and that is, I'm going to explain now. So this is the crazy talk. When I said this is and that is, here it comes. Where my mouse is now, this is road. So let's use a road mirage example. Okay, are you following me? This is road.
Okay,
you got me. Okay.
Hold on, just to stop you real quick. If you want an actual video with road and miraging, I can show one and we can talk about that, so we don't have to imagine it. Otherwise, you can just carry on.
Perfect. Yeah, we could definitely go back to that. That's full. That'll be great. So, but for the this is argument, picture this as road. Okay. And we are standing on the road now. Here is where the mirage takes place. Okay. So this is when we see that reflection on the road and the inverted image. And you'll see how this mirage here, because it's not on a hard surface, it's a lot more malleable, if that's the correct word. It moves around, so it's a little bit more wobbly and can change angles. And I suspect that is why we're getting these breaks here. We're getting now and then, as it's getting into the right angle, it's starting to reflect and no longer refract. So yeah, we are seeing refraction. This is refraction through that lens. Or through that barrier, that boundary layer. Yeah, it's at an angle that it doesn't cause enough refraction to cause a lot of disturbance. And that's, for instance, why we see a road, where the road is, it'll 99.9% of the time be measurable with Euclidean geometry. But if you try and measure this, you're not going to, because it's being refracted. However, it gets to an angle where it starts reflecting. And this is that road mirage that we are seeing. Now we're seeing reflection, but we're getting reflection of the water, because this layer is above the observer. This section here is the compression that you would see on that video that I posted on that wall observation. This medium is a thickness. It's almost like those meniscus videos of mine, where the image gets projected onto the edge of that medium. That is what's happening, and that's why the house will move up and down in that location. But that house is not there. That house is down here.
All right.
This is for... Okay, now I'm going to turn it back around. When I was saying in my presentation, the reason why these trees aren't moving that much is that barrier, you're seeing it at an angle where there's not much refraction, or when I use the Snell's law example, the angle of incidence is not enough to refract that light severely enough. And when we see the sun clouds, etc., up here. Everything appears to be normal, not a problem. We see sunsets happening in this location, for instance. Say this was open, this was over a body of water. We see sunsets here. The reason why we're seeing it set here is because it's being blocked by the mirage, just in the opposite direction. We're looking through a corridor, a tunnel, a passageway. And there are these layers, but this one's not as common as the general inferior mirage like we would see with a road mirage. Did that make any sense to you?
Oh, to a certain extent, but it's not that way for a road mirage, because it's a fata morgana. It's a dynamic and not a static image. But stay right there, or go a little bit farther to the end. Okay, stop. So, for all intents and purposes, this is exactly what I see on a normal day when I can see directly across the bay and see this house. The house is right there. That the water that we see right now, this is the actual water that's going all the way over to the other side. So that at the focal point here is severe compression, which is a trademark for the Fata Morgana where the target is located. So if you were to go backwards slowly, I would say to you that you're going to start to see the mirage develop. This is a mirage. The house is right there in the middle of the frame. And when you move backwards and the water disappears, that's Lady Aetherband pulling the curtain closed so you can't see the water that's there in the distance.
Oh, I'm struggling to see that.
So just roll it back. Go do the timer back a little bit. Okay? So now there's the mirage. So now where the mirage is below the house, that's where water apparently used to be. No, that's where the water is. The water's still there. If there were a boat right there where your mouse is, you wouldn't be able to see it, because the mirage would swallow it up. But then if you were to go forward now toward the end of the video and then put your mouse back there as if it were the right, stop right there, and now put the mouse back. Yep, there's the boat. That's where the boat is. Wait, that boat wasn't there a minute ago. Yeah, that's because there was a mirage there, but now there's a boat there.
So yes, I would agree with you to an extent, except that I would say yes, the boat is here, but I think the house is here as well, and I think it will go on for many, many miles where it's unresolvable anymore, where it just gets too small to see. The difference I have, I think, with the explanation is you saying that this is the inferior mirage blocking. I'm saying this is the superior mirage that's blocking.
Correct. That's why we have to, in my opinion, no one else cares about this but you and me. But this is why this research needs to be done, because I don't believe that superior mirages exist. I believe that there is only mirage. And the mirage is either stable, and I have hours and hours and hours of filming a stable target where there's no change. And that's a solid, stable mirage. And then the Fata Morgana, which is what this event is here, where everything changes within a matter of moments. I mean, I can show you. I can show you another video. If you haven't seen it, I would be surprised. But I can show you another video that demonstrates this exact same principle in the Channel Islands.
Okay, I just want to quickly add to this video and this discussion, because I want to get back to that ship that you were showing early on with the gap below it. So what I also wanted to add was this inferior mirage that's being caused by this house or this area. That is it is at such a severe angle that we can't even resolve it. It's like looking over a table, and you 1 millimeter above the table, that table looks like a linear line. Do you get me with that?
Absolutely.
It gets to a point where, okay, so that is to a point here that we won't even be able to see if there's an inferior mirage in this area, okay? But it's there. but it's so far away you cannot see it.
I agree with you. I mean, well,
Okay.
let me say this. I agree that what you're describing happens.
Okay.
Whether or not we can attribute it here, I'm like, okay. But
okay, cool.
But I've seen enough evidence from my own observations where I thought I could see straight across to the other shoreline, but then all of a sudden I see a boat go across the screen, and then because the boat is there at the focal point and there's an inferior mirage and I see it, it was so small and so far removed back into the background that there is no way that I would have ever, I hardly even saw it with my eyes anyway. But so I am agreeing with you to that to a certain extent that and so if you can think about it this way, this is the way I if you twist a towel up, right? And you just twist it and then it's loosely twisted but it's bunched together, that is going to be a very obtuse mirage. And then what happens is when the mirage becomes more and more acute and becomes more and more diminished and recessed, that is then like twisting the towel smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. At the same time, you're moving it away from you so that it gets visually smaller, but at the same time, it's also twisting in on itself almost, so that it's wrapping up so tight that when it gets far enough away, like you were just saying, you can't even see it. Does that even
Correct.
make sense? Yeah.
But watch this now, Travis. This is where you might need to get some ice for your head. Okay. So yeah, we can't see the inferior mirage, but
hold on. Let me wait. Hold on. Let me stop you, Ian. Hold on.
Okay.
Put that mouse up higher, right there. No, back. No. Down just below the top of the target. Just below the top of the target.
Just below the top of the target.
Right there.
Eh?
Okay. Now, everything that you're saying now, say it now at this point, because that's where you're actually talking about it. Yep.
Okay, cool. From this point, it's actually a bit higher, but from this is not what I wanted to say, but I'll try explain it from this point. From this point till I would say about this point where my mouse is now is all a reflection of the inferior mirage.
I don't get that. What do you?
Okay.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Are you saying that up toward the top of the target, which is that division between the green of the trees and the white of the house, right? We're right there, okay?
This here? Yeah.
No. Higher up. No.
This one?
No. It's go to the target. Yeah, right there. Right. No. Right at the top of the target. Right there. Okay.
Okay.
So this is where I was saying that the towel is so twisted tightly. It's a very thin refraction event that's happening at that point. And so I would say that very you wouldn't even be able to, you'd never see it, but I'll grant it for the sake of this argument that that's where the inferior mirage is happening. So if you're saying what I think you're saying, are you now saying that everything below that point is a reflection of that mirage that's happening at such an acute angle there that you can't see it?
No, this is not where the horizon, where this plane is carrying on. So for the sake of this argument, this is a table and it's a forever long, perfectly flat horizontal plane. All right, from this whole body of water.
Right.
I reckon it's actually about where my mouse is now. Okay?
What is?
That's the last angle. It's like looking over a counter where it just turns into nothingness. A piece of dust would obscure the horizon. That's how unresolvable it is. A piece of dust 1 centimeter in front of your eye, or 1 meter in front of you, and you looking around across this table that is for infinity long. That piece of dust would block your vision. You would see the dust before you see the end of that table. Does that make sense?
Nope.
Because it's so okay. You're looking over a. Do you think if you look over a table, a perfectly flat table, that it would wrap around you above your head?
That doesn't even make any sense. I don't understand your question. So I
Okay.
would say no.
When does the table become unresolvable? When can you not see the end of the table? Does the table just get higher and higher and higher and higher, or does it get to a point where it just doesn't get any higher? It'll be just below your eye level because you're looking at it at above eye level.
Okay, wait. So let's put myself in a big gymnasium or a big warehouse with a massively long table in front of me. Am I standing up at the end of the table, or am I squatted down with my eye at the level of the table?
You like what 2 millimeters above the table, above, and you're looking across it to the other end of it.
So my eye is right at the table.
Correct.
Okay, well that would be a very, 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 very short distance that my eye would be able to resolve.
Yes. Okay. So you got me on that. It's always going to be below eye level because you are starting at above the table. Would you agree there?
I think I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Okay, so it gets to a point where it's unresolvable. It's just too far to resolve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where my mouse is now. You cannot resolve it. There's bumps in the water. It's so long, so far. You just cannot resolve it. Okay. Where my mouse is now, there's an inferior mirage happening, but it's so far away, and it's such a closed, open angle, if you want to do it that way. It's just because we're not seeing, we're not high enough to see it. We're too low. You got me? We don't see that inferior mirage. Just for the sake of this argument.
You know what's so bizarre about this, Ian, is that you're saying the same thing that I would say, but you're putting it in the place that I would put it, not in the place that I would put it. So
cool.
So basically you're saying the same thing that I've been saying about the inferior mirage. It's just that I'm placing it at the top of the image and you're placing it below the image.
Correct. But to get to my whole point of this, because I believe this is what's happening, and I believe it's explaining the Fata Morgana actually beautifully, and why we're seeing two fold lines in your what you would call an inferior mirage. But what I'm trying to get at, there's an inferior mirage happening at that location. We can't see it. We're not at the right angle to see it. But for the sake of this argument, there's a superior mirage happening because there's another layer above it. We at an angle to be able to see it, and this mirage or this barrier is not very high up. It's actually quite low in this case. I believe it will be measurable. I saw one on Robben Island, which was about 15 meters high. Anyway, so we're seeing a superior mirage, which is reflecting the inferior mirage. It's as if if there was a boat there, you would see an inverted boat upside down above the horizon line. But we are seeing, because it's reflecting an inverted image, it's presenting it in the correct orientation. And it's also reflecting the fold line. And that's why you're seeing multiple fold lines. You're seeing the fold line because it's reflecting the inferior mirage fold line, that information. That is what you're seeing. You are seeing, and that's why it moves up and down. It's a malleable medium. Yeah, now we are seeing the reflection of the water. This is not a vertical image. This is going towards that house, but it's now blocking that information behind you. You can't see through this. So we are seeing a reflection on this.
Yeah. So again, my point is that everything that you're looking at in this frame that you have frozen, everything is water. So that if you go in the middle of the picture, put your mouse in the very middle of the water, like in the middle of the water section, okay, and then you just go, just start there, and then just go up toward the image of the house where it's at, and stop right there, right where that focal point is. My position is that's where the shoreline is. That is where the shoreline is. So that if you were standing there and you flashed a mirror, that would be where the flash comes from, because that's where you're from. And if you go back now, go back to the middle of the time stamp, take the time marker back. Okay, right there. Now stop right there. Now my prediction is go back up to that place, right? Yep, right where your mouse is. My prediction is do that mirror flash again, and that's where the mirror flash is going to be. That's my prediction.
Yeah, but that's now then that's refraction. This is not the actual position of it. This is the apparent position of it. The actual position is down, yeah. Or out there, not down. It's out there.
Okay. Well, at this point, I disagree with that interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, fair enough.
I can show you another one of the earlier footages that I captured. If you haven't seen it before, I mean, unless you've got something else to do, or if you want to go somewhere else. But
just a quick one. Yes, give me a sec here. I want to use. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. So the same thing. You've obviously seen this video of mine. With this wall. Wait, where's that part now? Okay. Can you see what is my screen showing?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't see it on the YouTube though.
It says Ian presenting.
I see it now. Okay. No, I see it on the YouTube now. But if there are any audience watching, I would dig them to watch this as well. So, for instance, this is the water.
Yep.
And here's the inferior mirage taking place. We're going to get to a point where the angle is too tight for us to see the actual reflection. It's just too tight to see it. But we'll have, in this instance, I don't have the superior mirage, but I am working on a demonstration of demonstrating it. But I was trying to get to that acute angle. It's just too tight to see it. However, this wall is still going down here. This is all wall here. This is, that's what's blocking that section. This is wall. And I've gone another day where the mirage wasn't as severe. But what I wanted to show you was this. Do you see that black spot here?
Yes.
This is not behind, but it's basically, yeah, it's behind this area. This is a projection. This is not actually there. Did you see that? Look at that.
Well, I mean, I might not be understanding what you're saying. So keep going. Keep going.
Okay, so that little house that we're seeing so compressed, we're seeing the same thing happening here. All that information is so compressed in this. This is refracted information. This is through the medium. Like, yeah, you can actually see it as well. This is the thickness of this air barrier on this wall. This air on this wall, which is creating the internal reflection. That's the different gradient index. So the air that we are breathing, that we are in, is different to that air on that wall, and that's how we're seeing the reflection take place of it. But there's still refraction happening in that wall. There's still light in that medium. There's light that's getting in there. It's like looking through a glass of water. That light is exiting at that location. I'll probably have to draw something to try explain it. I suck when it comes to speaking over a microphone or something. Man, I can write this shit and I can draw it, but I can't bloody speak it. It's terrible.
Yeah, I get it. I understand what the frustration that you're talking about.
But yeah, you go ahead. You share your thoughts and what you need to do. Let me stop sharing here. I'll get a better explanation for it, or a better way of explaining it. But like I say, man, I'm very excited that I'm able to predict where I would see the mirage starting to occur. And like I say, so far with the basic equipment, it's been, I use the word fairly accurate because I don't know if my temperature measurements are 100% correct, but I would say it's been very accurate in the sense that even though I've using different measurements, each time I'm able to predict where that mirage is taking place or where the reflection takes place.
Okay. All right. You see the screen?
I can, yes.
Okay. So this is at the beginning. I've never changed the effects here. Let me try and see if I can do that. See what that does. That would be interesting. I've never. I wish it wouldn't do this until I'm ready. Okay, and you can see my mouse?
I can, yes.
Okay, so this is the Pacific Ocean here. This is the Channel Islands, or this is the channel that the islands are in. Okay, so where the water stops here is where the mirage begins. Okay, and so then the limit to the water that we're seeing right here is the result of refraction. As we move spatially away from that position, we are going farther into the distance toward the island. Here is the island up here. Here is the island. Here is the island. Here is the shoreline right here. Just roughly speaking, because this is so distorted and whatnot, this is the shoreline. And then as you peel off right here, you can still see some of the effects of like the miraging that happens. Okay, but the refraction that's happening here is too dense, and so you cannot see the water. So this dark cloud right here is water. Okay, so now I'm going to pan across, and I'll stop it whenever I see some duplications. These birds right here are duplicated right here. This, all of this right here is being miraged right here. This section right here. Here's another section right here. This section right here is this section right here. This section right here is this section right here. And all along as we're going, this is the shoreline here. And so now this landscape here is now stretched out down here. And it's being interrupted by the water here because the refraction is light enough to let it through. Here's another great instance where you have the topography of the island being mirrored below. This part right here is being magnified and made to look bigger down here. This is another part right here. You can see this coloration is down here. So this is the physical island. This is a mirage. It's not a superior mirage. It's a mirage, right? So then here, right here is this. This is this. Now we have a bigger piece, it's starting to get a little bit wider. It broke up right here. It broke up right there. Here's another spot on the island that is now down here. Okay, and now
that background, is that island or is that clouds now?
It's an
Sorry,
island.
It's difficult to see with the. Okay.
All of this. Cool. So watch. So all of this right here. This is an island with higher topography, right? So now we're just moving across the island. Moving across. The island is going to start to get smaller in terms of its elevation. Right there, right? Okay, so now you can see the saddleback right here. Right, so this is the island. This is the island. This is the island, and then it comes down here. So now the elevation of the island is so low, and it's farther away at this point that it's starting to blend into what's going to be the horizon. Okay? So now we have this spot right here and this spot right here that correspond. This is an oil platform that appears to be very, very large, very, very tall. Okay? Here is the top of the island here. In my opinion, it's right here, inverted, and then right here again, reverted. So there's two inversions. Here's the physical. Here is the first inversion, comes down here, and then comes back out. So this apparent sky right here is actually this sky right here. And the reason why we can't see more sky right here is because this is too tall in terms of the spatial area. Okay? But as we look out over here, this is the horizon apparently to us. Watch as I peel off to the left. Okay? This is now appearing to be the horizon, because this looks just like this weird ghost monster, like a cloud. Like, that's just weird. And then these look like the legs of the oil platform, and they're stretched up really tall. So that might be towering. Oh, let's just see what else happens over here. Oh, that's kind of weird. Something else is going on. What is this? There's a bird flying across the screen. There's another bird. And then it starts to break up. And then it gets really, really thin. And there's a bird right here. This bird is not high above the horizon right here. This bird is far away above the horizon out here. Okay? And so then when I get to this point, I wanted to get to a point to where there would be right here. Okay? So now there's nothing here. But there's something right here that looks like a cloud, because that looks like it's up in the sky. And this whole solid line right here looks like the horizon. Okay?
So for me, that is where if you had to reverse this image upside down, that's where the mirage is starting. And you're able to see through it higher, but the lower you get that angle of incidence, and we're seeing a reflection. So when you're saying this, I'm seeing everything. Everything we're seeing above that now apparent horizon line would be a reflection of the inferior mirage.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's behind anything physical. I'm just saying that is what why it's so much higher. I don't see that the horizon is getting so high.
What do you mean you don't see that the horizon could be so high?
I can't.
So
where it is now,
like where it is right now, like right here.
So where that second line is, or that second.
You mean the lower,
there,
the lower line?
I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't think that the horizon's there. No. I always say that the horizon's hidden by mirage, which is about down there. Yes.
Okay.
Below that,
Okay.
below that.
I think I'm tracking with what you're saying, but I think you need to work on it a lot more. And I'm not saying that to correct you. I'm saying that to say I don't really think I understand exactly what you're saying, but there's enough in what you're saying that I'm like, I kind of okay. But I think I'm gonna need to hear it more, because it's just not making any sense to me. But what I want to try to fill out right now is just to show you that this part right here is kind of like the part that we were looking at in the other video. Oh shoot, I let it go. Oh no, that was you. You had the video up of the amazing mirage, right? Because just like in the amazing Fata Morgana mirage on the Chesapeake Bay, where the water came in and filled in the space that looked like it was the mirage, this space is all going to get filled in by the dark color of the water. So this
Correct.
part, yeah, okay. So this part right here, for anybody watching and who's interested, this is mirage. This blue thing that looks like, or this gray thing right here, because I changed the color tones, this is the sky up here. This looks like this is sky right here. So then this would have to be floating up in the air. No, this is the physical water going farther and farther and farther into the distance. And this space right here is the refraction that's known as mirage. So as this develops, I mean, look at this whole area here. Right here, the mirage starts to break up and become, what did you call that internal refraction? Confused?
The frustrated internal reflection?
That's what's happening right here. It can't decide if it wants to be a mirage or if it wants to let the water be seen. So it's like, oh, let's...
Yeah, you're pretty spot on with that.
Right.
But the only difference is that I'm saying that's the top barrier as reflection.
Okay.
And I think that's the only part that we've got hiccups with. But yeah, I think that's the part that I need to work on with my explanation. I do believe that I presented it pretty clearly in my presentation, though.
So you're watching real quick right now. Watch this. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So now, this part right here in the middle, that's just water all the way out. Like this, you know, who knows how far away this is. But if we were going to watch this continue right here in this area where you can see the sky used to be, I think it's at about, let's see what time this is, 2:30. I think that it was about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. And there was a bird. No, that wasn't it. 4:30 maybe? No, 3:30? No. Darn. I used to know the timestamp, but in that place where, right here. Okay, so now, sorry. All right, so now that's the ocean. All of that is the ocean. But in certain spots, the ocean didn't show up until down here, right? Because this all was blue sky. This was all sky. And then the sky went away, and now the horizon's all the way up here. So...
Yes. So hold on. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. You pointed where the horizon. Yeah, horizon's lower down, right? Down there.
No.
Oh, shit. I thought you said it's down there. Because I would say yes. I would agree.
Yeah, that's where the hiccup is. I don't know how to unsay it. So now, here is, if we took screenshots of this platform, right? So now here's the platform. If you went out on this day, right now in this moment, you would just think the water is going all the way up to the platform. And there's the platform. But what was happening here? Because at this point, here, there's no legs down here that are stretching. Like, what was that crazy thing that looked like it was, like that was down here. The horizon used to be down here. And I'm saying that the horizon was always up here, but it was hidden behind the mirage. And when we go back here to the very beginning, and we see the, come on now. So the entire platform is right here. Everything's right here. This is not real. This part right here and this part right here actually get closer together when we get down here. Watch this. Okay, so look and see how far apart this is. Look and see, this is right here and this is right here. Watch and see what happens when I get to the next point.
You know, I was watching the YouTube stream, and that's why I think I was getting a delay with what you're showing.
Oh yeah, that would be a big.
My bad.
All right, it's all right. Okay. All right. Well, do you need me to go back and show you what I was just showing you a second ago then?
Yeah. Sorry, man. Fuck.
Okay. All right. So can you see the screen right now? It should be. Yeah. My mouse is right there in the middle. You've seen it pretty much real time.
Yeah.
Okay. This part right here that's going across horizontally, and that part right there that's vertical, and that part right there is horizontal. Okay, that's part of the inferior, that's part of the mirage. This part right here is being mirrored down here. So this is a massive stretching. So when I show you the image when I show you the next image, this part and this part are going to be much, much closer together. Like this space is going to disappear, and it's almost like if I had been able to film this entire, if I had 10 cameras and had one on this thing the entire time, we would watch this part and this part go closer together when we finally get to right here, when they're almost one piece. See, now that entire space that we were just looking at now is now compressed. But this stuff right here physically is all up here. And this is the mirage.
See, so for me, where that bottom fold line is, that's the horizon line.
Right here?
Below that, where those two, there we go.
Right here?
There, yeah.
I'm not sure I understand that totally, but...
So the same as with your lighthouse video, same with the wall. That always when we see that first fold line, just above the water line, that is where the, for instance, that's where the table would end, or not end. It's unresolvable after that. Yeah.
Well, okay, but see the problem. Right. Okay, so here's where I think the clarity of what I was trying to do earlier before you jumped on with the Andrew Thomas Young diagrams that I was going through is he was showing you the effects of refraction on a target by moving himself away. Okay, and that's not the same thing as what we're doing here, where we don't move anywhere. We set up in the same position every single time, but we get the same refractive effects. But those have to be 100% due to refraction every single time because the target doesn't move and I don't move. Okay? So when you're talking about looking toward the end of the table, that in my opinion, in this instance, that doesn't, it's not the same. It's not the same. I would call it a false equivalency. So you're trying to make two things the same thing, and I'm saying I don't think you can do that because I'm trying to see if I'm just going to try to go back to a spot. So like here's the fold line, like you were talking about, right? And I get that this is, almost an anomaly. Andrew Thomas Young watched. I don't know how much of this he watched. I sent this to him. And I said, what do you think? And he said, I have no idea. And I'm like, well, then why don't you give me a job? Because I'm only 50 and I could be studying this for the next 30 years. Like, if you don't have any idea and you've got some amateur like me who's bringing you stuff and somebody who's showing an interest in the research there, I'd be like, hey, man, do you want a job? Because you could be researching this. This is really interesting. But he didn't even do that. You know what I mean? To me, okay, so look. So in this instance right here, we don't have a fold line per se. You know what I mean? Like it's just this is the wispy line. It's disappeared. It's all like, okay, let me start up here and be absurd. This is 100% sky. This is 100% sky. 100, and we get all the way down. This is not the sky. This is not the sky.
Yes. Yes, I want to stop you there because that's keep your mouse there. So you're correct. So I'm going to give you the road mirage example with what you were saying now. Correct. So you're seeing sky, you're seeing sky, you're seeing sky. Same thing I'm saying is you're seeing road, you're seeing road, you're seeing road, and now you're at the correct angle to see reflection. We are seeing reflection now of the light below that, or the information, the targets below that. So here's the fold line. Yes, correct. That's the fold line of of the higher medium that it's called. Hold on, I've got the
Right,
name
but if
of
we
it
were
here.
to go, if I were to be able to cut the other scene and bring it over here, the fold line that you were pointing to before was down here. The fold line for the mirage of the legs of the platform.
So yeah, but it won't be there now. You go back to where the fold line is. It won't be that high. It shouldn't be that high. Okay, oh, is that fucking high? Let me just have a look here. Let's get to the part where it zooms into that fold line. Okay, pause it there. So we're seeing at the bottom here, we're seeing water, 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 water up until we get to that fold line. You following me?
Well, I mean, just to be specific, and I'm sorry to be so pedantic, but I would say we're looking at water, 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 and then we see the mirage, and then the fold line. So the fold line is above.
Yes, correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we're seeing water, 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 mirage, fold line. For me, that is now the horizon, for instance. Above that would be actual. However, we are not seeing it because we're having the that layer above that we're seeing a new reflection. So like I showed with the sky, we're seeing road, 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 and then we're seeing the new the angle of incidence take place, and we're seeing a reflection of the bottom information, and that's why we're seeing this break as well. It looks like you've got two clouds floating in this image, in the center. That's that one's fold line. The center of that looks like black smoke. That's the fold line of the new mirage, just inverted, upside down. If you had to turn this whole video the other way around.
So look, when we go back to the very beginning, before I guess there was still like right here. So I would say like even right here, you almost have a solid image. That would look like it would be like if this was a Star Wars creation, like an AT-AT or whatever. Like these are the legs, stilty legs, right? And so up here is the mirage right now. So like right here in this area is where the entire, like the legs of the entire, this platform's legs are actually all crammed right here. They're all just smushed to hell, compressed in stooping. Okay, and then they're being miraged down here. And if this mirage were more obtuse, we would probably see the very top of this platform down here. Okay, but what I'm trying to show you right now is that like we see the breaking up of the mirage in its entirety right here. So there's a fold line right here. At this point,
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and that's because of the top reflection. What is your explanation for that bottom greater than and lesser than sign next to the right leg? Right. Yeah. What is your explanation for that?
There's a fold line right here.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying before was that, let me see if I can go back a little bit.
The reason why we're seeing two fold lines is because we're seeing a reflection of the inferior mirage.
Okay, so I'm just going to walk over here to see if I can talk myself through it. So this is the top of the island. Here is a light discoloration in the topography, and that's down here. Okay, so now for me, this is where the shoreline of the island is. If it were on a clear day or whatever, we would be able to see with different clarity, but we would see apparently that the water goes all the way up. The water is going all the way up to the side, the shoreline of this island. Okay, so we're going around here, around. Here's the top of the island here, and that's being miraged right here. So the top of the island right here gets to a certain elevation. That elevation gets high enough so that now we don't see, like we see the sky right here. So right here is sky, right here is sky, right here is sky. Now it's all blurry, twilight zone, no sky, because this part of the island is higher and therefore is outside of the refractive zone. So this greater than sign here is due to the fact that at whatever point on the island the topography gets to a certain elevation, that's where the reflection of the sky, like right here, it starts to accelerate, it starts to elevate and get higher and higher and higher, and now all you can see is the mountain. Does that make sense?
It does, but I don't believe that's what's happening.
Well, that's interesting. So there you go, man. I think that would be a perfectly reasonable, but the point that I'm trying to make with the people that I'm making contact is like, nobody else is talking about this stuff this way.
Yeah, it's sad.
No one else is talking. Like, all we do is we look up this stuff and look and Google mirages and whatever. They just show us pictures. Like, no one is talking about mirages the way you and I are talking about them. Which to me, shows that they aren't. I honestly don't know how anyone. I don't know, man. I guess I was a Bible believing Christian for so long, right? And somebody who's an atheist and believes that the Bible is a myth is like just shaking my head at me like I'm like saying Jesus died for your sins, and the guy's just looking at me going, "You just don't get it, man. Like I can't make you see it, And so now I'm that guy who doesn't believe the Bible is 100% literal and blah blah blah. So now I'm the guy doing this with refraction too. Right? Because we're challenging people who are like a pastor who only believes that the Bible is true and can't make mistakes. And so he's never going to hear what I'm saying. I can't make him see this. And so when he studies the Bible, he just sees it as the immaculate, infallible, inerrant word of God. And so then when you send someone out on the field who is in the mainstream for refraction and they go out and look at a mirage, all they see is Andrew Thomas Young, Andrew Thomas Young, Andrew Thomas Young. You know what I mean? Which is all bullshit.
Yeah.
They can't see this stuff. They don't, like, even Andrew Thomas Young, he should have said this is like a unicorn. You're filming a unicorn, dude. I don't even know what to do with this. And I was just like why aren't you offering me a job? It would make no sense to me. Like, if I was in a field and someone who, was just this young, wet behind the ears greenhorn from the Americas, is like, I got breaking news on, if that person came across my path, I'd be like, I want you on my team, dude. Like, you tell me what you need for a budget and I'll make it happen. The fact that hasn't happened yet just blows my mind.
So, if I'm asked, why have you not been to the have you been to the university? I'm not going to put the sort of. So, have you been to the universities?
I've emailed people who are in the fields in numerous universities, and 0 have responded. I'm not driving anywhere. I'm not going to go drive someplace and walk around and hopefully try to find somebody that I can't even get a hold of in an email. Like, how am I supposed to know he's ever going to be in his office? Like, when am I can't even get these people to respond. Like, I leave voicemails on these, PhDs thing. Hi, my name's Travis Finley. I'm a hobbyist. I have, a lot of appreciation for refraction. I try to make it as interesting as possible and whatever. Nobody returns my phone calls. Nobody, no, I have not physically gone to a university and spoken to someone. I've just had complete unsuccess any other way, because for instance, if I wanted to contact Robert Greenler, who was the PhD guy at the University of Milwaukee in Wisconsin, right? I got a hold of him, but he's in his 80s and he's retired and he has no desire, 0, to talk about refraction. 0. In his email to me, he's like, I have nothing to contribute to this conversation. I'm like, this was your life, dude. You have someone like me who is like totally geeking out on this stuff and is interested, and you say to him, nah, I'm not interested in talking about that. That was a part of my life in the past. That's crazy to me. Insane. So then the only two other people that I've had contact with are Andrew Thomas Young, who is not willing to reconsider science at all, and then the guy from the Georgia State University, Rod Nave, who was eating up everything I was feeding him. He never corrected me. He never had a problem with what I was saying. He never said what you're saying doesn't make any sense, which is what all the globe trolls do. You don't make any sense, Travis. That just doesn't make any sense. And I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be crazy. This makes the most sense. And that's exactly what my conversation with Rod Nave demonstrated. He understood everything I was saying, and he had no problem with anything.
Yeah.
Except,
oh man,
except I'm at the point of, with him, like the same thing with Andrew Thomas Young. I'm like, can't you get me in somewhere, dude? I get that you might not want to do this. Oh, here it was. Here it was. Okay, you see where my mouse is?
Yeah.
Right? So that's where the previous horizon was. And hold on. It's going to be like right around here. You'll see that it looks like, I always thought it was a there, right there. Did you see that?
Oh, I saw it. Yeah. Yeah.
I always thought it was like a dolphin spurt or a whale spray or something. But I've seen those enough now that was a pelican diving down into the water. Right? So if you can see right where the sky is, or where the mirage of the sky used to be, if you go right across right there, that's exactly where the sky would have been before. And we probably wouldn't have seen that because of the contrast. But because the water filled in all the way to the back, we can now see this bird dive into the water. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. See, that's for me still. That's on that top barrier. Same as in my presentation that I showed. If you don't mind, if I could try show something again here on my side.
Yeah. Hold on, where am I at? All right, you're up.
All right, let's check here. Okay, this is that Fata Morgana that I filmed. So it's a similar thing. Remember, my cameras are not as great as yours, but I think this was pretty decent footage that I got. I just want to show. There's another part of it as well. Sorry, man. Got so many different folders, you get lost of where you were. Oh,
yep.
Fuck. Beach Mirage. Here we go. Okay. So this was part of it. This was just a short one. We were walking up to the restaurant, and then I said one more shot. And the higher I got, the crazier the angles got. So I saw this, and oh man, I never noticed the ship on the left here. It was a quick look back, and I said, okay, love, just one more pick. And then I noticed this when I reviewed the footage. But yeah, I wanted to do a drawing here not a drawing. I want to take the screenshot of the other one. So what I want to show you here is what I was trying to explain. So this is all water. You can see the marker here, right? The square. Would you agree that isn't its actual place? There's no miraging, there's no refraction, or well, there may be a little bit of refraction, but it's in its actual place.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. You happy with that? I'm saying the same thing for this area. Would you agree? If you shine a light, if a star or cloud, it'll be there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When it gets to this area, so I'm just gonna bring it smaller. When it gets to this area, this is where it goes all wonky, right?
Right.
If you actually don't know what's further beyond that point. So we're on the same page there. Cool. Let me show you something. I'm going to take this. Oh, not this size. Rotate. Let's flip you this way around. Let me just cut that. Okay. So what I've done now is I've reversed it. Okay. So imagine this is sky. Let's put in a little cloud here. There's a cloud. Let's make it white. So this is sky here. Cool.
Okay.
And this would be oh fuck, not that.
I get you. You don't need to.
Okay. That's tarmac.
Yeah.
Okay. However, we've got a mirage happening. Boom. So we're seeing the inferior mirage occur in this area. Do you see what I'm showing you now? Does it make sense to you? So this is road, and now we're seeing the reflection as if it's sky, the inferior mirage, and then the actual target is over there.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we've got sky.
Yeah. But the problem with that right now is that the entire area above the top yellow line would be the darker blue. And because that's because you have a space between the dark,
yes.
You have a space between that's not consistent with
yes.
this discussion. So, but anyway, so I see what you're saying. So you're saying that the the top.
That's the missing space you're talking about. So these two converge to that one point. One or the other meet that point first.
All right, take out that box real quick. The last one. Okay, so your target is the top part of it is the physical, right? That's the physical. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So the fold line is right there where the green and the yellow meets.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's no fold line at the top of the green box.
Not in this scenario, no. But you do see that on some of even on your footage and on that red roof house footage. That's why you'll see two fold lines in this area. You would see the two fold lines, especially in a Fata Morgana. You see the two fold lines. You would see one here. You'll see a little ship up here. You'll see the ship over here. So you sometimes do see 4 images, but most of the time you see 3 when you see a Fata Morgana. And that's because there's a double fold line. But the one gets so small that you don't always see it. And that's why I showed you on that footage of mine of the wall that you do sometimes see that projection come to that top piece. Just remember, I have reversed this image, so you'll see with the Fata Morgana you have the 1, 2, and then the third image higher up, and that's because you're getting a double fold line.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they've talked about the complex mirages that have more than one inverted image. They don't talk about it the way we are. So to me, I don't know. They talk about everything. So the fact that it's not in their literature to me means that they don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't think they look at it this much. Yeah, my whole point is that we seeing there's another layer coming towards the observer now, another barrier. So we got that one on top of the ground, or just above the ground, and then in some occasions it's called the there's a name for it. Give me a sec here. It is called the temperature inversion layer, but then you get the lower one. It's the these names.
See,
anyways,
yeah. I was just gonna say I wish that they would because I haven't seen anything that's concrete for me. The temperature inversion layer, to me, that's just pure bullshit. I don't believe in temperature inversion layers. I don't believe things are just what they are. They are what they are. Now, if I'm looking out across an observation or whatever, and I'm not out in the observation, I don't know what's going on out there. I think that, where's your inversion? You know what I mean? It's like if you were standing there, if you were in a boat and I sent you out like, Ian, there's going to be a Fata Morgana today. You get out there, man, and you get in the Fata Morgana. And I look and I'm like, man, you're stretching. You're like, how does your body hurt? Is your bones breaking? Because, man, you just got squished down to nothing, man. Like, you're in the event, but you don't feel anything.
No, I got you.
You know what I mean? So, like, where's this inversion? Like, all you're feeling is 70 degrees where I'm standing. And then, you know.
So, so you, technically, you in it now as well, but you're not at the right angle to have that light reflecting or refracting yourself. I think that happens in your eyeballs and in your head maybe, but your medium, your being, that light that you are, that light is, you overcome that refraction or that reflection. You shine through it. You like an X-ray machine. That's how you can see the bones. So I think that's why you're not affected by it. But the light itself is not dense enough to be affected by that, if that makes any sense. Oh man, I wanted to show you this cloud image.
Go ahead and do. I mean, if you want to do something else right now, go ahead and do that. But I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. You back.
How did you know? I didn't even start talking yet.
How could you have the mic? Oh. Okay, so I quickly did a search on clouds. I should actually take a photo of it, and I've got my own footage of it. But there's some days that I go outside and I go for a drive or go for a walk to the beach, and I see these clouds and I say, "Oh my God, look how low they are!" Or yes, it looks like they're on a piece of glass in the air. Something similar to the picture I've got showing here now, just sometimes a lot lower and not these big. I think these are called cumulonimbus clouds, but you get these other low-lying clouds, but it looks like they're on this glass table. And I even say to my wife, yeah, check that, love. It looks like it's like on something. So
well, isn't that the reason why most people talk about the bottoms of clouds being flat? Because I've heard that a lot. I mean, I've seen it, so I've always just thought that, but I've never thought about it in terms of the way you're going to start to explain it. So I find that interesting. So keep going.
Okay. So there's different temperatures in the air. For instance, with the road, it heats up. There's a different temperature, and then there's air above that that's not as hot. But these two temperatures, because they're different gradients, they don't mix. It's like trying to mix honey and water. They don't mix. You can mix them if you stir them up enough. They will get mixed, but generally they settle to a point where they don't mix.
I'm sorry. When you talk about the temperature, where are you placing this?
In the air now. So, like on the road, the road is hot.
I thought you were talking about the cloud. You're not talking about the cloud.
No.
Oh,
Not yet. I'm starting from the bottom and I'm going up.
Sorry.
I don't want to start at the up and go
I thought
down.
you were starting from the top and going down. Okay.
No. So we're at the road. I was just explaining how the two don't mix. Well, they mix for a bit, but they settle, and the one remains hot and the other one remains cooler, and then they're happy in that, and that's the temperature difference between the two, and there's a barrier between them which is called the boundary layer. Then we've got our air that we have, and they present it to us. It gets cooler, or the gradient gets less and less and less and less and less. There's some truth to that, yes, but there is a distinctive difference between one layer and the next layer, and that we see that with clouds. There is an amount of air that is generally the same, and there's the next layer that is a lot cooler or a lot warmer. You get different temperatures, big temperature differences. So the temperature does differ slightly the higher and lower you go in the air, but very little. There's not a massive difference until you cross this boundary layer, and then there's a distinctive temperature difference. I think it's whether it's 6 degrees or 10 degrees or 20 degrees difference. There's a big difference. There's a gap between the one and the other. And between those two, there's there's a boundary layer. And these clouds, for instance, on that image that I'm showing you, those are clouds sitting on a boundary layer. And that's what the density and buoyancy comes in as well. They're dense enough. They at the density level where it doesn't break through that barrier. They're not heavy enough to break through that barrier. I do believe that when it rains, and that's when it starts leaking, it's breaking itself through, and we then get precipitation. But we're seeing these clouds floating on that layer, like you put a boat on top of water. It's not heavy enough to break that barrier. We see the same thing happening with a Fata Morgana, just at a much lower height. That's a pocket of air that's being trapped, or that separated itself from the rest of the air, like the road mirage, like the air on the road. It separated itself from the rest of the air in the place that we are in, that we're breathing in now. That pocket of air separates itself, and then you get the rest of the air again. And when we see a Fata Morgana, we're seeing that internal reflection within that boundary layer. And that's why when I did that drawing, where's that drawing now? Let me just bring it across here. Come on, not that. This one. This is, for instance, the road mirage will be in this pocket of air. This one, like I say, it's about 1 to 30 centimeters thick. I would say, to be safe, I would say it's 5 centimeters thick. I still would love to get it measured, like I said in my presentation. So that's what I was going to just say now. Like I said in my presentation, I would love to get the actual measurement of it. But when you look at it, you can see where the light is reflecting off this layer on the road, or like on the wall. I don't see it reflecting in 5 meters above the wall. I see it actually reflecting just above the wall. The one on the wall looked about a centimeter thick, or just less than a centimeter thick. Width. This is what I mean. I hate it when people ask me for specific words. I'll try Google a better word than thick, but if that doesn't make sense, how would you measure a width of a pizza base? What word would you accept for the width of a pizza base?
Of a what base?
Of a pizza base. Um, from the plate up, how would you describe the the distance between the bottom of a plate and then the top of the plate of the pizza? Because I don't think you're understanding
Are
when
you
I'm saying one.
pizza?
Yeah, I'm struggling to get the
No, I
other
just
word for thick.
okay.
I don't know.
I was just trying to. I think I would say volume, but
No, volume's a quantity. So there's a distance from the road, and then the higher you
well, that's
go.
altitude. As soon as you leave the ground, it's altitude. So elevation is if you're going up
Okay.
and you're still on the ground.
Okay.
But altitude
Perfect.
is away from the surface.
Cool. So I'm estimating it. Like I said in my presentation, it hasn't been measured, but what I've observably seen, um, it appears it's about 5 centimeters of elevation on the road. Does that make sense?
Say that one more time.
Okay, we've got the tarmac, and then we've got air that goes up to whatever height it goes to. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, no. I'll need to speak to someone else to help me
No,
explain
no, no,
this.
no,
Let
no.
me-
I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I was just picturing it in my head. Keep going, man.
Okay, no, let me get this drawing.
I was actually
say,
thinking about. See, the thing for me is like I would rather look at a real picture. So I was gonna go get a picture that I took when I was in Colorado. But it might take me too long to try to figure out where they are. Oh, there's a road trip. There it is.
I'm creating a box here now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna open this up
So hopefully this makes sense.
because it would be helpful for me to see something like what you're talking about and then hear you talk about it. Let me go to.
Okay, so oh, that's probably not a good way to draw it. To me, rather just use the pencil.
Here, can I show you my picture real quick and then we can come back to this maybe?
Yeah. Let me stop presenting.
Okay. All right.
This is one reason why I've been using such high English in these writings that I'm doing, because I don't think people understand my layman language.
I don't want to get that. How do I change the pooping erase size? Oh my gosh, come on, man. What the heck? Why is this being so difficult? I just wanted to look at the dumb picture, and then it came out, and it was already not the right size. Hold on real quick. Try it again. Whatever. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here is the top of the truck. Here is the top of the truck inverted. And then here is the limit of the Mirage here. And so from me to the truck is 1 mile, and from the Mirage to the truck is a half a mile. Okay, so I already know roughly the distance because my friend was in this truck. We marked it off at a 0 mark. He drove away from me. Where was the 5 mile mark? Here it is. We marked it with a okay. So right now we have the ability to go over the tarmac like you want, as long as you start talking about it this way, because I want to see it this way and then listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, so that would be distance. So that's why I say I don't know a more fancier word to use than to say from the ground up there's a pocket of air, and it's only so high. I don't know how to use a more fancier word.
Okay, but right, but see, the thing is like a pocket though. I mean, so here's me. I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna pretend like you're on their side, and I'm like, why are you using the term pocket? Because when I look down at the ground, all I see is the ground. I don't see any air. I don't see sections of air. So I'm trying to ask this person or you, like, why are you saying pocket?
So that's what I'm trying to explain, but I don't know another word
Okay.
to call that pocket.
Right, but I think that that's
because
the I think though that is precisely more to the point of my question. Like, why are you talking about this? Because you're trying to explain this, but then you're using the term pocket, but you're actually, have something else in your mind that lies behind it. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because that part for me doesn't make any sense.
Okay, cool. I'm going to answer your question with a question, if you don't mind. How would you explain to someone, or do you believe, or do you think that the temperature at the toe or just above the toe, say up to about 5 centimeters, is the same temperature than at 1 meter?
No.
Okay, now how would you explain that to someone? That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
So you're trying to say that instead of 1 meter above the ground, where I easily conceded that the temperature at 1 meter is going to be lower than the temperature at ground surface, because of its proximity to the source. So all you're doing is bringing it down to a centimeter or 5 centimeters.
Correct.
But I mean, I get that to a certain extent. I don't have a problem saying that as soon as you leave the surface of the ground, you're going to have a change in temperature, and it's just going to get less and less and less and less and less as you move higher and higher up. I don't have a problem with any of that. My point is like, how are you saying 3.72 centimeters? Where did you get that number? Because I don't think that exists.
Okay, so I do believe it's possible. And the reason why I say that is I go put the temperature measurement at 1 centimeter above the ground, and I got 55 degrees Celsius. I went
Wait. I'm
10
sorry.
centimeters.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I need you to back all the way up. And how did you even get to a measurement of temperature from a measurement of distance? Like, what are you using? What's this tool that you've got? You said calculator?
Okay. No. I have a thermometer, a digital thermometer.
Okay.
And I put it 1 centimeter above the ground.
Okay.
I don't know if I can use another. How
No.
else could I measure
Okay, that's fine.
distance?
I get you. That's fine. Okay.
Okay. 1 centimeter above the surface, and I measured 55 degrees Celsius at that height.
So you're shooting the laser across the floor.
No. It's a probe. You put a probe. How do I explain this? Shit. If you got a cigarette lighter, say pretend that's the probe. I don't have a picture of the probe now, but you take this probe and you put it just above the ground, and that measures the temperature. It comes to the little digital device here and says, okay, the probe is measuring 55 degrees Celsius. Does that not make sense?
Yeah, I'm picking up a little bit more. So the device isn't heated. The device is just a measurement of.
No. Okay. No.
You said cigarette lighter though. You were using a cigarette lighter, but
no. I'm trying because I don't know how to explain the size of a probe. Because you're asking me weird questions. Temperature probe. Let's just see.
Okay, I get
Jesus,
you. I get you. So you have.
No, dude, you being like a fucking glober, man. Go search a mini digital thermometer, and that's actually the one I used. It's a very cheap Chinese thing, but
Am I frustrating you?
Because I don't understand how you're not understanding that you can measure temperature with a device.
No. I understand that you can measure temperatures with many devices. I get that. My question was how it was being determined in terms of the pot, what you wanted to call a pocket, the area that you were going to limit that to. So you're saying, I measured 50 degrees Celsius at the pretty much at the surface. Okay, so then
But then
as
you asked me,
soon
how
as-
did I measure that? Then you asked me,
No,
how
no,
did
that's
I
because I
measure
wanted
that?
to know if you were. I didn't know if you were shooting across, like shooting a laser beam across the surface, and then you could raise that laser beam, and then the laser beam would move with the height, and then you could see the readout. And then, but you're saying no, you've just dropped something vertically.
No, I didn't even drop it. I'm just holding the temperature gauge there like a thermometer. That's why I used the cigarette lighter as an example. It's like taking a cigarette lighter, that size object, and just holding it there at 1 centimeter above the ground, and you're getting a temperature of that area.
Okay, okay. And so
Okay.
are you eyeballing the 1 centimeter, or are you like physically holding something up? How do you know it was 1 centimeter?
1 centimeter is like 10 mils. It's, oh man, if I was a millimeter or two out, I don't think it'll be a massive difference. But the massive difference came when you hold it 30 centimeters above that. There was a massive difference where it went from 55 degrees to 28 degrees, and then above the 28 at a meter height was 25 degrees, and it remained 25 as high as my arm could go up into the air.
And where were you? Were you in a house or outside?
This is on the tar, so I was outside.
Outside. Okay.
Yeah. So does now this is why I'm saying there's a pocket of different temperature. There's one at 55, and it appears to change drastically. At least from there, it changed drastically up to 30 centimeters, where I started seeing a stable temperature of the outside temperature that you're in. It wasn't 55 degrees anymore. It's only 55 degrees, so low down.
Okay.
Or does that make sense with the measurements?
I
Or
think
am
so,
I seeing
yeah.
this? Okay, cool. Now I'm calling that a pocket of air, or I don't know how else to call it.
Okay.
It's like, okay, cool. Now because there's two different temperatures, they don't mix. They separated. There's a barrier between them. This you can do it with water as well. You can do it with air as well. They're going to have a different index of refraction according to the moisture in the air.
Do you
I
have
don't
a
have those
demonstration,
specific.
or do you mean have you seen a video on this? Or?
So hold on. You get a device. Oh man, I've also saved it here that can actually measure the index of refraction, or the refractive index of air, and you get ones that can measure it for liquids and things like that. But I personally, like I said, I didn't have the exact measurements, but there is information out there that will give you an average, just a standard index of refraction for temperature. It's not exact, but it's standard. It's more or less.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now I'm saying, okay, cool. This is possible. I don't have the exact numbers, but let me just use average. Okay, it'll give me some sort of reading. And now I see that. Okay, so now I'm saying I'm using Snell's laws. Oh, wait, sorry. Let's go back now. So now I'm saying the higher you go, so that's that pocket of air. Now, the higher you go, you see the same thing happen, but generally much higher. But when there's a Fata Morgana, I am hypothesizing that we're seeing that same drastic change in temperature much lower down. Like these clouds are floating on the that I showed you, they're sitting on a barrier. That same thing's happening lower down. And with my theory, with the total internal reflection, it's reflecting off that boundary layer, which is that reflection is provable with Snell's law of two different refractive indexes, and there's a mathematical calculation for it as well, which I've put inside the app, and it just makes it easier. Instead of going to go write out this whole bloody equation every time, I've developed a piece of software that does all that for you. You just put in the index of refraction, and it'll give you a predicted distance at the observer height of when you would see reflection, which will then present you a mirage.
So you're the one that is creating this app, so you're the one that's putting all of this information in. So where did you get all of this information?
I got some of the information from the school, and then the rest of it I've confirmed with just researching online the equations. And then I also gave it to Matthew Learns, which is a one of the guys here, the chat on the Discord, to double check that the calculation is correct. The school has also confirmed that the math is correct that's being used, and the code is, anyone can go and take the code to see that I'm not manipulating anything. But you can, like I say, you can go take the math equation yourself and confirm it for yourself if you don't trust me that's developing the app. But I'm just
curious. Yeah, I'm just curious as to like where you got your sources from. That's all. Because if you're the source for the app, then you have to have gotten your. If you weren't the one who, discovered the information yourself, that's all I was saying.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the school, the physics teacher at the school that I was at before, where I presented the first time, I've seen them again, and they provided me the actual equation, and I've been confirming the equation through a bit of my own research online, looking into how you calculate the critical angle and things like that, and been trying to verify it as far as I can, and so far, everything does appear correct. I don't see any issues with it, and the academics don't see any issues with my equations either, so I've developed the app based on those equations. So it's just easy. You just put in the index of refraction, and it'll give you a predicted distance at the observer height from where you would see a mirage happen.
And then how would you verify that that's where the mirage actually is?
So the same, what you've basically done here, where you say that vehicle is 1 mile away, that is 5 miles away where that mirage is taking place. That's how you would verify it. You would go measure.
Okay.
So that's what we've done. So my wife and I, we went out, and it took quite a while because I only have a 3-meter long tape measure, but I went and I did it, and I measured along with the tape measure, and I was, if I remember, it was about 12 kilometers out on the prediction, but when I changed the camera angle, it always appeared to match, like I say, within about a 90% accuracy rate with the prediction. And
are you gonna,
I think it's absolutely fascinating.
Make a presentation for that, or
it is on my the actual video of it, but in my presentation I do talk about the app.
Oh, okay.
Did you not see that?
I don't think so. It doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, it's in my presentation that I posted.
How long ago did you on your webpage? On your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to go look for it. What was it called?
The one that you've been commenting on, the total internal reflection, the cause for mirage. The app in that video starts from, let's see, it's about 23 minutes. No, you can watch from about 23 minutes is when I present the app.
Oh, okay. Huh. Maybe I didn't get that far yet.
Yeah. Oh, so you haven't watched the whole presentation?
Well, I guess not. Maybe I got distracted.
There must be. Yeah, because it's all in there.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. And like I say, you can put in the numbers, and then it'll give you the prediction. You put in your observer height, and it'll say this is where the mirage will occur. And it's all based on,
and how does it know
internal reflection.
How does it know that there's going to be a mirage?
Because of total internal reflection. So you take the air refractive index, and you take the ground refractive index. It works out the critical angle where reflection takes place and no longer refraction. And then once you got the critical angle, you can put in the observer height, and obviously the further or closer you are from the mediums will depend on the angle, will change the angle. So the further you are at the same height, the angle gets, closes the angle. The closer you are, then you become more upright to the object. So when you put in your observer height, it does all that calculation for you. So you can say, these are the two refractive indexes, calculate my critical angle, and then put in the observer height. Say I put on default on 1.4 meters, but you can put any height in there. And you say calculate distance, and it'll tell you at this distance is when the mirage will start occurring.
Okay, so let's say I go out right now on to the Chesapeake Bay. What information would you need to have me give you in order for you to make this prediction?
I would need the temperature above. Okay, so firstly, preferably, I would need refractive indexes, but like I say, it's not easy to get that information. So I use the
So there's not
standard.
a
So
so there's not a generic standard refractive index for air.
not necessarily, no. But like I say, I have got the standard ones, which I've included in the app. So there's a view guideline refractive index. So you can go and look at the temperature and it'll give you a standard refractive index for that temperature, which is, it's close enough to get a accurate enough result. So cool. I'm happy with that. If you can get me the temperature uh, um, right above the water level, so preferably within 5 centimeters. If you can get me that temperature, that'll be amazing. And then the air temperature about a meter, or preferably if you can put your arm up in the air and get me that temperature. Those two temperatures, I will be able to use the standard refractive index, and you give me your camera height, and I'll tell you when you would expect to see mirage. So it's two temperatures and your height.
Yeah, I mean it sounds interesting. It would be worth making this happen.
Yeah, so like I say, we've tested it. My wife and I, we went out and, like I said, with basic equipment, and it's been fairly accurate. And the reason why I say fairly accurate is because I don't have the exact refractive indexes, but it's been completely accurate in the sense of the standard refractive indexes. It's not like it's 200 meters off. It's only a couple of meters off, and it could even be up to measurement.
How
But
much
um,
how
yeah.
much did it cost to get this gauge?
Oh, there was a cheap Chinatown one. It was 120 rand. It's probably like $1. So that's why I also say, but it's not a thing that doesn't measure properly, um, but it's average. It's nothing major, nothing amazing. What I also did is I looked up data with road temperatures, and I got one here with Fahrenheit, um, which I just convert to Celsius, just to try get an idea if this thing is measuring correctly. Because when I got the temperature, I was like, wow, that is hot, and it's hotter than I expected. And yeah, that apparently is what road mirage or roads heat up to. This actual one, it was 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is even warmer, but it doesn't make that much of a difference with the refractive index and the distance of the mirage. Um, because the two different temperatures are very different. It's normally when you get these very similar days where the mirage takes place much, much further, because the angle needs to be way closer, um, or more open. So it'll take a much longer distance to actually see the mirage take place, but it does still take place. And yeah, the calculator seems to pick that up perfectly fine as well.
Cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually. I think it is.
Yeah, it
And
sounds like that's I think phew, something that would be very very interesting for people. If it didn't exist, like you've got someone like you putting this together, to me, I would be like, why are you doing this? Like that would be interesting to me as to like, you know, what is it that this thing is doing that, and why hasn't anybody ever thought to do this? Like if no one's ever done what you've done, Ian, I would be really surprised. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised because here we are even talking about this stuff, and it's like, as simple as pie, and yet here we are behind hundreds and hundreds of years of refractive research, and they're not even talking about stuff that we're talking about.
yeah, I've been, like I said, I was working on my app before we hopped into this chat, because I had an issue where it was displaying the reverse of the degrees, but I've fixed that now, so it displays the
Man, I need an
degrees
app
correctly.
developed. I didn't know you were an app developer.
I'm not. So I used to be a Scrum Master. I used to work as a Scrum Master is basically like a project manager for a software development company. So I got that basic knowledge and working with what you call stories. so I know how to put the things together. It's just googling and getting the code together is what takes a while. So I'm not it by trade, but I've got the basics to understand to an extent at least. But it takes a while. It's
Maybe
taken
I should
a very long time.
give you my idea and see what you might think if it's worth taking a stab at, because if my idea gets developed, I think it would be a game changer in the podcasting world. And it doesn't exist. And my niece that is an IT geek, I asked her about it, and she came back and she's like, "This would be so complicated. I don't even know how to figure it out." But I'm surprised. Part of what I'm saying is that I'm surprised that what I'm suggesting to be made doesn't exist already. To me, that blows my mind. But on the market, it does not exist, which means no one's thought of it yet. Because
That's incredible.
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Let me actually share my screen after you're done. Then I'll actually give you a quick rundown of my app, how it works, how it looks.
Hey, I was actually going to bounce out. I was going to tap out and...
Come, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right, hold on.
yeah,
Let me
we
figure
do
out which... Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So it says you presenting still.
Oh,
You need to, yeah.
it's all right.
Okay, it is my screen 1. Okay. So this is the little app. Can you see it yet? Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so I've got this view refractive index guide here that if you click on that, it opens up this little window. So this is what I meant by, I've put in a list of temperatures all the way up to 60 degrees with the standard refractive index next to it. So you can reference this. If you only got the temperature, you can reference that. So let's take an example of a road. We can use, say, 58 degrees. So it's 1.000432. It's normally just the last 3 numbers that change. So here you'll put your ground refractive index. We said it was 0342. 42. And your air refractive index, let's say it's 28 degrees outside, for instance. It's the 313 here. So you'll go 313. You'll say calculate critical angle. So here I get a critical angle of 89.56. Here you'll have your observer height. Whatever height you want to put it. Let's say we're at 1.5 meters up in the air. And you say calculate distance. It says here distance to reflection would be 196.99 meters. So like I say, we went to go and test this and we got very, very close to the distance. If I drop this height, let's say I make it 50 centimeters above the ground, I can say calculate distance there, 65.66 meters. And you adjust the camera height and you will see the reflection does occur.
I don't know, man.
Closer.
Like, what do the observer height at, do 60 inches?
60 inches, how much is that in centimeters?
I don't know.
Let me Google, inch to centimeter. 60 inches is 1.5 meters.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
Okay.
Doggone it, because I just did this the other day. We could just take what I measured.
Yeah.
Here, but it's not. It's going to be over the water. It's not going to be over land. Hold on, real quick. So, this was the day. Okay, yeah. It was the air temperature was 80
Fahrenheit.
And the water temperature was 80.
So it'll be a very similar temperature above the water, but I would need that temperature just above the water. We can put in an average. Do you know what the water temperature was?
Yeah, they both showed up at right around 80.
Oh, sorry, the water you said also about 80. Okay, well let's say 80 is 26 degrees Celsius. Let me get this. 26 is 311. We're going to need to get that temperature above the water, but would it be slightly warmer or cooler at that water? Just above the water. I would suspect slightly warmer.
If the water is 80 degrees and the air is 80 degrees, I don't there's no way for me to even guesstimate like the air right above the water, like, is, what, I mean,
So yeah, that's why I say I would need that temperature. But if we had to guesstimate it, what do you think?
I wouldn't even know how to answer your question, because the temperature gauge that I'm looking at that tells me what the air's temperature is 80. So that's what I'm going to say. What do you think the temperature of the air is right above the water, Travis? Well, this thermometer says 80. So it kind of feels like, that's what I would do.
Okay, yeah. So if someone asks you what's the temperature just above the road, you're gonna go say it's 26 degrees, but then I go and measure it just above the road and I get 55 degrees. I think it's a bit of a slap in the face if you answer me that way.
Hold on. Wait, man. The water is 80 degrees. So I already know that the water is not going to be like excessively hot like a road, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm not sure why I'm not sure why you're bringing in the slap in the face part, because I'm not challenging anything in reality. I'm saying that for me, just in general, if I only have the thermometer that's in the water and the thermometer that's in the air, okay, let's change it. Like, let's say the water temperature was 80 degrees and the air temperature says 75. So I already know that there's a 5 degree differential, right?
Yeah, we can do something like that maybe, but there will still be a difference. When I surf, I can feel the top of the water is definitely warmer than when I put my hand in a little bit deeper down in the water.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely, right. So I just don't know, for the air temperature to be 80 and the water temperature to be 80. I don't know that it's that important to try to figure out, was it 81 degrees? Was it 82 degrees? Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, no, I was just didn't know if there was going to be more of a difference, but there would most likely be a difference between the two. Let's then keep it as slight as that you want.
So 130 centimeters is 60 inches? Or what was the observer height
Well, let me first get a temperature here. So I'm going to then say what must I make it then? Just slightly more, 28 degrees. I think it's going to be a very acute
why wouldn't
angle.
you just keep it this? Why wouldn't you just keep it the same? That's what I was saying.
Because then there's no barrier between the two. Then it'll be reflecting off the water. But there would be a temperature difference.
Okay.
So this is I've never done it this close, but yeah, let's try it out. And observer height, you say?
Oh, I said 60 inches. Did you look that up in? I think you Googled
let me
that.
check. 60 inch again. I think it was 1.5 meters or something. Let me just double check. Inch to centimeter. 60. It's 1.524. So 152.4. I don't know if I can do decimals, but let's try. I can. 762.12 meters. You should start seeing mirage or reflection take place.
Okay, so what is that in feet then? What is
Feet?
762 and what is 762 feet or meters?
Meters to feet. Let's get it. Yes, 762.12, 2,500. 2,500. Yeah, 2,500 feet.
2,500 feet is less than half a mile. I don't. Okay. I might be missing something, but that doesn't make sense to me. So okay.
Okay, this is.
I mean, okay. I could give you different. I just had those readings on my phone right away. I don't think I have ones from a previous time that would have been different.
So yeah, I've changed the refractive indexes just by 1, and I at the same distance height is at 1,077 meters. So that's about 1.6 miles. And that's changing the degrees by 1 temperature.
keep them the same. I don't think it'll.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whatever. That's weird. What's like 26 degrees Celsius? What is that in Fahrenheit?
That's what you just gave me that now. Whatever the Fahrenheit was, 80. You said. Yeah,
Okay.
26.6 is 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so what would you say?
26.66
Okay,
is
20. Okay,
80.
so put that in, but then the water temperature was 76. So the water temperature was 76 degrees, and the air temperature was 80.
So it's that way around. So let's just swap these again. Oh yeah, it's still 1 degree difference. I think 76. Let's see. 76, 24. So yeah, it's 2 degrees difference. Oh fuck, that's foot. Shit, sorry man. Get this Fahrenheit. So yeah, 24.4. So yeah, it's 2 degrees different. So yeah, these two will just be two difference. So yeah, it'll still be what we said. Oh, not that one. 3. Yeah, that is it. 762.12 meters.
Yeah, I just don't think that's right, but okay.
And then the other one,
like what I'm saying is that would make the Mirage come very, 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 very far out into my proximity, and I've never seen it come. That's just crazy that there would be that many miles lying behind the Mirage. To me, that would be wild. But interesting stuff, man. Good for you for putting this together. If this turns out to be a legitimate, success, that's fantastic.
yeah, I hope so.
So
I'm trying. I'm busy trying to develop it now.
Send me a link of that device or whatever, and I'll try to buy one, and I'll take the water temperature and I'll take the air temperature, and then I'll use your device to get as close to the surface as I can. And
to be honest, I wouldn't waste your money on it. It's a real cheap Chinatown thing. You buy them in like a pack of 2 because the one doesn't work.
Well, yeah, but I don't even know what they are anyway. So you could just text me something as to whatever it is to look it up. I'll look it up then.
Yeah, so I've asked now for funding from the school for better measuring equipment, and hopefully they're even going to purchase the refractive index calculator. So I'll actually send you the link to that. You might find one cheaper. It's a device you put up in the air, and it actually measures the refractive index in that location. So that may be a better option. It's fucking expensive, in South Africa because it's not a very common thing, but on Amazon it seems dirt cheap. But my shipping is going to be like $100 for a small little device. It's just ridiculous. Where the item's only going to cost like $10.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'll send you some devices. Yeah, that'll be fantastic if you can get
Was
that.
it called a thermistor?
It sounds familiar. Hold on.
Thermistor. That's the only device that I know of. It sounds
a fractometer fractometer for air.
Are you kidding me? A fractometer? Come on, man.
Oh, fractometer. Fractometer.
Fractometer. They've got a meter for everything. They've got a gravitiometer. They've got a spectrometer. They've got a refractometer. Whatever.
So yeah, the refractometer.
All right, man.
So yeah, if you can get that, that'll be amazing. And like I say, the math in my app is using the math that you would use to measure the angle of incidence.
Yeah, I have no desire to do this. Whatever you did for this, that is not appealing to me whatsoever. So thank you for doing all that shit that I would never want to do.
Yeah, so in the future now, I want to plan on, if this is very accurate, that I wanted to give a prediction with an image of what you should expect to see, so the type of mirage as well, at that distance.
Because I asked Andrew Thomas Young recently, just this week, if you could make a prediction for when you wanted to see looming or when you wanted to see a mirage, and he said no, there's no way to do that.
I think it is possible, and that's what I'm hoping to do. Yeah,
well, man, if you do it, Good for you.
Cool, man. So yeah, that's what I've been busy with, man. Hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. So I've got to get somebody who's got a boat. That way I can put them out and test the predictions. But
Yeah, that'll be awesome. For now, I'm using the road because it's shorter distance, so I believe
I guess
it would.
that's true.
Yeah, it's a bit easier um, to get those measurements in as accurate as possible. But dude, by all means, if you can get someone with a boat, that'll be great.
Yeah, I'd have to try to figure out where the hell would I have a straight piece of land that I could do that on. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Well,
Have a good one. Cool.
yep. We'll
Cheers,
catch you
man.
later. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.
It was so awkward. It was so awkward. It was like, you say goodbye first. No, I'll say goodbye first. No, you say goodbye first. All right. That's it for me. I am going to take a nap. Woo.